Commissioner Menendez.
I just want to add my historical perspective to Coral Gables in terms of landscaping and parking and traffic. I label myself an old timer, almost 60, my whole life here in Coral Gables. And we were on a trolley tour of the city. The mayor led that event so we could learn a little bit more about what the needs are of our community. We were in the northern end of Coral Gables, and I mentioned to the mayor while we were in the trolley with most of the staff, I go, this area looks a lot like the area like Coral Gables that I grew up in the 60s and the 70s. For those that are younger, for those that moved in the Gables maybe 5, 10, 15, 20 years ago, 1960s, 1970s, Coral Gables, at least in our urban core, had no landscaping. It was bare bones. It was a house, a lawn, and you were lucky if you had a coconut tree. There were a lot of coconut trees, a lot of palm trees. We didn't have necessarily the canopy that we enjoy today. We don't have the beautiful landscaping that the city over the years has gone out of its way to implement for the benefit of everyone. So whatever decision or direction we go, I want to make sure we don't make it in a vacuum, because as Mr. Trias showed, Biltmore Way in the 20s and 30s went through a lot of changes, from a golf course, from the road being changed that was going to curve, then it was straight. I can assure you that back then, when the first building went up in Biltmore Way, I'm sure a lot of the folks in the neighboring area were horrified. That's probably why they moved the road, not have it curve into the residential area, but go straight. So a lot of things that are old are new again. For those who don't recall, Miracle Mile had no median. I think in the 1940s and 50s, that's when they put in a little strip of concrete in the middle of Miracle Mile, probably to avoid head-on collisions. We're talking about collisions, I can assure you, there's no median in Miracle Mile. There were a lot of accidents. We had, I think, angle parking or straight-in parking back in the day. There were collisions when people pulled back there. So we're facing a lot of challenges that are remnants of decades long ago. Biltmore Way today, in terms of street parking, is probably similar to Biltmore Way in the 60s and 70s. So we're sort of doing catch up. And I think collectively, I think we're all headed in the right direction. But again, we have to look at the history to better guide our path forward. And if you've noticed, and it's just the way it is. If I went around the room and asked you, what's your favorite flavor of ice cream? And I did that with Cub Scouts the other day I spoke. Half of you, or some of you will say vanilla, the other chocolate, the other vanilla, or strawberry. I even had chocolate mint with the Cub Scouts. It's going to be difficult to get everybody on the same page. So for this to be successful at some point going forward, it's going to have to be a partial victory here, a partial victory there, and a partial victory there. So collectively, it's a win. But I just want to put everything in perspective just based on my own time here in the city. But we're headed in the right direction.
Thank you, Commissioner.